Hello everyone and welcome back to TowerGate. It is TowerGate day number 1264, Thursday, October the 15th, 2020. Thank you so much for tuning in. Okay, so yesterday, obviously a huge day. And not so much on the Spygate story, but just, other things going on. Just a huge day, so we'll be talking about that. Getting off the Spygate topic just for maybe one day. But there is a couple Spygate things that we are going to cover here. So let's go ahead and do that first, actually. Let's go ahead and talk about that. We learned yesterday from the Department of Justice that Bruce Orr, that's right, Bruce Orr, is out at the DOJ. And according to reports, news reports from Catherine Herridge, and now I think it's on Carrie Kupek has put up something on her Twitter feed, that Bruce Orr resigned on September I think they've got the date as being the 30th, September 30th, one day before he was to be fired over his conduct that was, of course, cited in Inspector General Huckleberry Horowitz's report, which Huckleberry lays out where Bruce had been a back channel between the dossier creators, Confusion GPS, and the FBI. Of course, his wife, Nellie, she had been criminally referred by Congress for lying to Congress because she came in, testified, and lied, and they caught her in the lies. So she had a criminal referral against her. There's a lot more that the Orrs were involved in. So it's taken a long time, but Bruce Orr has finally left the Department of Justice, you might say. Because, again, as I just told you, he had learned that there's a division within the Department of Justice which looks at certain types of conduct or misconduct of their employees. He had been under review for quite some time. Now, there was some information that came out almost a year ago that was very damaging, showing that he, like his wife, lied to Huckleberry Horowitz about dates and times of when things were going on. Plus just the general fact that, as Horowitz laid out, Orr knew exactly what he was doing. He knew he was feeding garbage information to the FBI. He knew he was being used as a sort of a back channel, I guess is how they describe it. A back channel. Because, of course, once the FBI could no longer tolerate Christopher Steele going rogue and going to the media without doing it through them, then they were forced to cut him loose because he became a liability. But they still needed to keep the garbage flowing. So Bruce Orr became the person who they used as the back channel to continue back channeling the Steele information, because they need to keep the information coming in for the circular media reporting scam that they were running. And they needed someone to bring it in the front door. And they couldn't use Steele anymore, so they had to use Bruce Orr to bring it in the side door, so they could backdoor it to the media and then circulate it. So he was involved up to his eyeballs in the plot. He wasn't completely honest with the Inspector General. And, of course, then his wife, Nellie, she came and testified to Congress. She also lied. I think that there's still a lot of questions about this, ham radio license that Nellie Orr got. A lot of people still suspect that's how she was communicating with Christopher Steele, and or maybe someone else. So both Bruce and Nellie Orr were caught up in the Spygate thing, and they were not just, as we had first thought, just kind of unwilling dupes. Nellie brought in just to do some research, some open source research, and Bruce, of course, being her husband, they were, made it sound like it was just convenient that his wife's working for Fusion GPS. She's getting this information, and he's giving it to the FBI. But, in his own statement, he's telling the FBI, that, hey, Steele, you better be careful with this guy, because, So Bruce Orr knew what he was doing. Okay, he knew what he was doing. And he should have blown the whistle. He should have backed out of it. But I assume, like everyone else, combination of his own fear, like everyone else, of Hillary, being afraid that you come forward and blow up Hillary's plot. The Clintons have a way of dealing with people who blow up their plots. So he's probably terrified of Hillary. Everyone else was going along with this too. They were sure Hillary was going to win the election. This would all be covered up. No one would ever know what Bruce and Nellie were up to. So it finally all, is coming out. I think there'll be much more. Of course, information was actually released today. More information on Bruce Orr. Nothing really particularly new because his testimony was already released, and of course, the transcripts of his meetings with the FBI was already released in redacted form. But there's no real mystery about Bruce. It's just that it took almost a year for the DOJ to finally compile all the information. Now, maybe they've gotten some new information from Durham. Maybe they were going to try to cover for him and let him continue on. But maybe they received some information recently that they realized that we can't hold on to this guy any longer. It's going to be exposed by Durham. And if Durham exposes that we knew about what he was doing and we didn't can his ass, we're in a lot of trouble. So I think something is going on here. They clearly were trying to cover for Bruce and everyone else, because once you cut these people loose and hang them and throw them to the wolves, they're going to talk. They're going to talk. Now, my guess is there'll be some financial arrangements made for Bruce and Nellie to keep their mouths shut, and they'll probably be taken care of. That's my guess. But I think we're going to find out more once Durham has completed his investigation. I think we're going to find out that there were people covering and protecting Bruce and Nellie, and that there was a lot more going on there than even what we know. And people are now in a situation where, because I assume Durham must be digging up a lot of things and uncovering the plot, and things are basically unraveling. So, again, Bruce Orr resigns one day before he learns that he is going to be fired over his conduct that was cited in the Horowitz report. And of course, we know that his wife, Nellie, was the subject of a criminal referral for lying to Congress as well. And I think we're going to find out more about how deeply she was involved. She might have been one of those NSA contractors accessing the NSA database as well. So we're going to find out more. But obviously, Bruce Orr has finally had to pay the fee, I guess you would say, pay the piper. And I think we're going to learn a lot more. But it probably won't come from Bruce, because my guess is, like most of these people, either he and Nellie will have an accident before they can talk, or they've been taken care of. One of the two. Or maybe he's cut a deal with Durham. Who knows? We don't know. It's all speculation. What we do know is Bruce is gone. Now, the big story yesterday, and you hear the term thrown out a lot about, bombshell and all that sort of thing. Well, this really is bombshell. Most of you know by now. Apparently, from what we can tell, remember, first news reports are always wrong. Not 100% wrong, but, generally the first story, the first report you get on any story, there's some facts that are not 100% correct. But based on where we are right now, what we know at this point is that Beau Biden or someone dropped off a laptop computer for repair at a computer repair place, and it was associated with Beau Biden, had stickers on it or something. And as is usually the case when you drop off something at a repair place, you don't come pick it up after a certain amount of days. They own it. So apparently this person who owns this computer repair place gets this computer. It's associated with Beau Biden, and no one comes and picks it up for a certain amount of days, so it becomes their property. And I assume some repair guy got into the computer and saw things on it that, he thought were, significant, important, and not good, and turned it over to Giuliani. Now, apparently, what's being reported is that he was asked, why didn't you turn over to the FBI? And he says because he believed the FBI was totally corrupt and would not do anything about it. So he trusted Giuliani would do something about it. So he turns it over to Giuliani. Now, as I understand, the FBI does have a copy now of that hard drive, and they are investigating it along with everything Burisma and Hunter Biden and Devin Archer and all these other people. Joe Biden now. So this is now all is being investigated by the FBI. But at the time, this person who had this computer didn't trust giving it to the FBI, so he turned it over to Giuliani. And apparently Giuliani's been sitting on it for quite a few months, just waiting for the right time to drop it, which he chose October, for the October surprise. So Giuliani, I mean, again, that's Giuliani. I mean, that's kind of pool he plays. Dirty. Giuliani understands politics very, very well. And, that's how it works. You got dirt on your opponent in an election year, you hold it to October. And that's exactly what he did. And he dropped this information on a reporter at the New York Post, who then publishes the article and talks about what's on this computer. And it's bad because it catches Joe Biden in a straight up lie. Said that he never talked to Hunter about his business dealings with Burisma or anything else. And this clearly shows that he did. Not only did he talk to Hunter Biden and know about all his business dealings with Burisma and other things, but that he actually met with two corrupt Ukrainian oligarchs, individuals associated with Burisma, met with him. And also there's pictures on this computer or video or pictures on this computer of Hunter Biden smoking crack with a prostitute while performing a sex act with a prostitute. Just a lot of bad stuff. And this has all been dropped, was all dropped on Giuliani's lap, and he gave it to this reporter at the New York Post who, of course, ran the story. Now, what makes this story even worse is that once this story comes out and everybody starts sharing links to it, Twitter starts blocking the link. So that when people try to go click on the link, they can't even see it. It's blocked out. So this makes it even worse. I mean, Twitter actually made it worse. I mean, it's already bad. It's already blockbuster stuff. But Twitter trying to block it actually makes it even worse. And probably will be the last straw for Twitter. This probably is the last straw because now we're talking about straight up election interference by Twitter. This is the last straw for Twitter. This is the one that's going to break their back. It's probably going to, again, the Democrats control the House, but if the Republicans get control of the House and hold on to the Senate, you can forget about these big social media giants being able to get away with this stuff anymore. At this point, this is the game changer. This was a very stupid move by Twitter. They pretty much signed their death warrant on this one, right along with all their friends. So post-election, this is going to be probably the death knell for the type of shenanigans that we've seen from these big social media companies. But getting back to the repercussions for the election, this is the type of thing that would normally end your campaign immediately. Now, the response from Biden's campaign when this broke this morning was, first of all, to put a lid on Joe and put him in the basement so he couldn't be asked about it. Then his campaign comes out and says, well, we've looked into this, and this meeting was never on Vice President Biden's schedule. Yeah, neither was that January 5th meeting in the White House where they plotted to take down Michael Flynn. That wasn't on his schedule either. This is the kind of thing that ends a campaign. Now we're 20 days out from the election. I mean, there isn't time to pull Joe off the ticket and make Horizontal Harris the top of the ticket and allow her to name a VP. There isn't time. I mean, the ballots have already been printed. People's already voted. I mean, Biden's name is going to be on the ticket. And I don't know how he survives this. Now, the media and all their friends are going to do everything they can to save him, but I don't know that you can save him on this one. This is, he's caught. Not only is he caught for what he was doing, he's caught lying about what he was doing. Now, as far as I know, he's never said anything under oath, but he's been asked about this many times by media reporters. He's talked about it in speeches. His wife has talked about it. They've both 100% denied that he knew anything about Hunter's business dealings. And this just blows it out of the water. Not only did he know about the business dealings, he was involved, and you can bet there's a lot more that we don't even know about. This normally ends your campaign, but now we're so close. I don't know what they can do. I don't think they can pull him off the ticket 20 days out. You can't. I mean, that this is already cast in stone. I think his name's got to stay on the ballot. I'm not sure how this is going to work out. This should be it for Biden. And I'm sure right now there's the Democrats probably at the DNC and all the power brokers in the Democratic Party are probably huddling right now to figure out exactly what they can do. Can they elevate Harris to the top of the ticket and then have her quickly name a VP? Can they do that? I mean, at this state of the game, when ballots are already printed, I mean, there isn't really time. This has never happened before, as far as I know. I'm not aware of it ever happening in American politics where, a candidate becomes, quite honestly, not able to be on the ballot because of something like this 20 days out. I'm not exactly sure how you would handle this. But I'm telling you what, today is Thursday. His campaign's not denying it. Saying that it was not on his schedule is not a denial. And the very fact that they didn't come out with a straight up hard denial and saying, hey, this is 100% false. Meeting didn't happen. Did not happen. That's not what they're saying. They're saying the meeting was not on his schedule. That is basically admitting that the meeting happened. Now what do you do? The media can't ignore this. They're going to try. I mean, they're absolutely going to try. They're going to try to spin it, ignore it, do whatever they can. But now this is too big. And it wasn't just that it's a political dirty trick by Giuliani. These are actual FBI's documents, that are involved in this now, that corroborate it. And it's on this hard drive. This is a real letter. It's not a fake letter. Now, maybe the media's interested. Oh, it's a fake letter. Giuliani wrote a fake letter. Nah, it's a legit. It's a totally legit letter. I don't think they're going to be able to. I don't think they're going to be able to, for 20 days, sell a narrative that's illegitimate. I don't think they're going to get away with that, especially because it involves the DOJ and the FBI, who are now have all this. It's not just coming out of a political campaign like the rotten Reverend Clinton. This is not just coming out of a political campaign or from Giuliani or from just a newspaper article or reporter or what have you. This is back corroborated by the Department of Justice, the FBI. They've got this stuff, and they've got more. And they've got documents. They're probably going to question. You can bet that these two Ukrainian businessmen are going to be questioned, assuming that they're not getting bullets put in their brain right now, which is my guess. If I'm those two Ukrainian businessmen, woo, you better go to the bunker. You better go to the bunker, because right now your life's not worth a nickel. You better get to the bunker, because if they get to you before the media does or someone, the best thing these two guys could do is come out and make a public statement immediately, and then go to the bunker. This is bad. I mean, I've never seen anything like this in my entire life, where you have a presidential candidate that's busted this bad on something like this. I don't think it's survivable. So it's Thursday, and I don't think the media can not talk about this. It's too big. It's too big. They can't just pretend it's like the 2,000 pound gorilla in the room, in the phone booth. You can't ignore the 2,000-pound gorilla in the phone booth, right? I don't know how they're going to handle this, and they don't probably know how they're going to handle this right now. Nobody probably knows. This is epic. This is biblical. This is whatever word you want to use. But I'd say they've got about 4 days. They can hide Burisma Joe in the basement for maybe 48 hours. He's going to have to come out and respond to this personally. He is going to have to come out and respond personally to this. You can't just let your surrogates come out on something like this. He is going to have to come out and say either, yes, I met with these two guys, or I didn't. Now, he may come out and say, well, I can't remember. And most people would believe it. We can believe he wouldn't remember it. That may be his best defense, is I'm senile. Hey, I'm senile. I'm nuts. Can't you tell? That may be his best defense. That may be his best defense. He's senile. He can't remember. That may be his only defense. I don't think he's going to come up to the microphone and say, yeah, this is all lies. Nope. No, it's true. It's true, and he's caught. and I'm not sure how you spin out of this one. I mean, you can bring in all the best. You can bring in Carville, and you can bring in, all the best Democratic spin meisters. You can bring them all in. There's not a single one of them that's going to be able to spin him out of this one. He's going to have to come out and comment on this personally, and he's going to have to do it. He's got no more than 48 hours. He's going to have to come out and make a statement. And, I have no idea I have no idea how he can spin out. I just don't think he can spin out of this one. He's caught. Hand in cookie jar. He's caught. Cookie crumbs around his mouth, cookie parts on his body, mouthful of cookies, hand in jar, flash, lens going off, front page. He's caught. How the Democrats are going to handle this, I really don't know. It's never happened before, something like this. Again, the vote's already started. If it would have happened a month ago, before the voting started, they could deport him off the ticket and put Kamala Harris as president and had her pick a VP and see what they can do. But I think it's too late. I think he's going to have to remain on the ticket. He may have to remain on the ticket while at the same time stepping aside. So his name would remain on the ballot, but he would have to be, Now maybe he can say, hey, look, you caught me. Oh boy, did you catch me. But you know what? So I'm now a corrupt politician. And you know that Legs in the Air Harris here, of course, is no, genius. We're pretty bad, but you know what? We're still better than Trump. This is what CNN and the MSNBC are going to say. Look, we're not going to lie to you folks. Biden's caught. Yeah, he's caught. He's up to his eyeballs in corruption with Burisma and his son and the whole 9 yards. And Kamala slept her way to the top, and she ain't got the brains God gave a goat. They're bad, folks. They're bad. They're really bad. But you know what? They're still better than Orange Man. This may be the only thing they've got. They're caught. Yes, we're caught. We did it. You know what? We suck. But you know what? We're still better than Trump. This fucking election. This got handed to Giuliani, man. Well, they screwed with him. They screwed with him. They screwed with Donald Trump. And, screw with Giuliani. He's pretty smart. And they never saw this one coming. And once Trump wins re-election, I'm telling you, man, it's off. In fact, he was asked today about the fact that another story that John Bash has finished his investigation and is not going to file any charges against anyone. And Trump was asked about that, and he suggested, he's not happy to hear about it. He knows about it. He's unhappy. And he even suggested that not happy with Barr. And that, he's not opposed, to making a change after the election. So Barr may be getting his walking papers right along with Haspel and Wray right after the election. I think Trump's going to clean house after the election. I really do. I think he's going to win in a fairly massive landslide, electoral college landslide, and I think he's going to clean the house. That's what I think is going to happen. And he's going to drop the bombs. And God knows what the repercussions of that are, but we know the type of people we're dealing with. So, it doesn't get any more bombshell than this. I mean, this is the bombshell of bombshells here. But you kind of knew. It shouldn't surprise us. I mean, the evidence is, literally we got Biden on camera sitting there saying, I told him to fire the prosecutor, you're not getting the billion, And they didn't, what do you know? Son of a bitch, they fired the prosecutor and I give him the billion. He's literally on video. They've been covering that up, whitewashing that now for what? Since Biden entered the campaign. We've had that video around. They've been covering that. But I think this is just, it's not going to work here. I just don't think it's going to work here. So, what's going to happen? I don't know. Other than the fact is Biden will have to come out and address this within the next 24, no more than 48 hours. He's going to have to address it, and I don't think he can walk up to the microphone and say this is not true. It is true. he's going to have to admit it. The only thing he can say is, I forgot. Oh, I forgot. Yeah, that's right. I did beat those guys, Ukrainian oligarchs. I did mean. Okay, now I think I remember. No, actually, I don't remember. I'm not sure if I remember or not. I'm crazy. I mean, that's his best line of defense. That's his best line of defense. Play the crazy card. I'm suffering from fucking dementia. I don't know what I'm talking about. That's probably his best defense. What would you do if you were Crazy Joe and you got Horizontal Harris, the laughing hyena behind you? Power hungry, mad, crazy woman. And the rotten reverend waiting in the wings. If I didn't know better, I'd say the rotten reverend's involved in this plot too. She's probably the one that dropped the computer off. The rotten reverend's probably the one that dropped the computer off at the repair shop. I love these freaking people, man. Oh, goodness gracious. Oh, my God. How do we keep our sanity? How do we keep our sanity in this crazy world, man? It's a crazy, crazy world. And it's getting crazier every day. So there you go, folks. Make of it what you will. It's still a new breaking story. I think it's curtains for Burisma Joe and Horizontal Harris. I don't know where it goes, man, but I can tell you it's down. Down. Trump's going to win in literally an historic landslide. I don't, I assume Biden's name will remain on the ticket, but he will not be able to serve as president. I mean, I don't know how they're going to work that out, other than say, well, we can't, go ahead and vote for Biden and Harris. They'll win. Biden will officially announce on that day that he cannot serve as president because of this, and there'll be an ongoing investigation or whatever. Harris will go ahead and take over. He'll submit to her. She'll take over, and she'll name a new VP, and we'll go on with whatever. Yeah, I have no idea. We're going to find out. We are certainly going to find out, and we're going to know in the next 24, no more than 48 hours. They're going to make a decision. Within 48 hours, we're going to know. If Biden tries to continue and the media tries to cover this up, they're going to get just destroyed. Absolutely destroyed. And they know it. I mean, this is critical mass. I mean, if you're a Democrat right now, you are... Can you imagine Pelosi and the crew? They have got to be absolutely just... Whew, they got to be... Man, oh man. There you go. Aren't you glad I stopped by? Let's see here. We do have another story to cover here as well. Yes, we do. From Just the News, it appears that Andy McCabe's texts, now there's some more text. It looks like 24 pages of texts have been released, which show that McCabe was texting several times about the Trump stories and the fake news. Of course, Grassley and Johnson are the ones who received these pages. They say there's a lot more that they want. Some of these texts are between Loose Lisa Page and Andy McCabe, and they are about leaked stories, including a text conversation about the October 2016 story about Trump's server communicating with Alpha Bank, which of course recently became a main focus now of Durham's investigation. He's very interested in that. We've talked about that in the last week. But these texts show that there were also show that there were several media reporters who had McCabe's cell phone number, and that they texted him and talked to him on a first name basis, like they were old buds, almost like they were working together. This shows clearly that the collaboration between Andy and the media was deep and broad. Clearly from these texts you can see there's a relationship here, a friendly relationship, a working relationship between McCabe and the media. And McCabe's a very interesting character right now because Rodenstein, of course, didn't know nothing about nothing. Sally Yates didn't know nothing about nothing. And of course Comey, he don't know shit about shit. Nobody knew shit about shit. But we know McCabe, he can't say that. Because he is based on texts that we've read. Based on testimony that's been taken. McCabe doesn't have the luxury of Comey and Rodenstein and Yates, because there was no documentation or witness testimony that actually, that we're aware of, that actually puts the hammer on him. But McCabe, yeah, he's hammered down. He's done. He's in it up to his eyeballs, and he can't do the Comey routine or the Rodenstein routine. Say, I didn't know shit about shit. No. We know that he was up to his eyeballs in it. That he can't play that card. So what's going to be interesting about McCabe, when Durham drops the charges on him, which he will, is McCabe going to cover for Comey and Rodenstein and Yates? Is he going to sit there and tell Durham, yeah, man, I got to admit, I was running the whole damn thing. I deceived Rodenstein. I deceived my boss Comey. They didn't know nothing. Yates, she's all clean. They didn't know anything. It was me. I'm the top dog. He's as high as they go. They got him. No doubt about that. McCabe's toast. Period. Even without these texts, he's toast. He was toast a long time ago. Will he give up Comey, Rodenstein, and Yates? Will he give up Obama? Well, if you remember, when he was fired, he said that if he goes down, he's taking everyone down with him, basically. What does that mean? Well, it doesn't mean he's talking about people below him, does it? No, it does not. Finally, one more story that I think you'll find interesting. If you haven't heard this yet, you're going to like this. A federal judge has now denied the Internal Revenue Service's motion to end a court case that is looking into the Clinton Foundation's possible violations of tax-exempt status filings. The suit was brought by whistleblowers John Manchin and Larry Doyle. This, of course, is coming now after just learning last week that John Durham is looking at the FBI's conduct and their handling of the investigation into the Clinton Foundation, which was being run by who? and Peter's been stroking us. If you'll remember, Mark Meadows, when he was the head of the Oversight Committee, actually had these two guys in for testimony. And they talked about how they had been thwarted, how the government was working against them, how they had discovered these violations by the Clinton Foundation, provable, but that the deep state was fighting against them. And so Meadows brought them in and questioned them, and they looked pretty solid. Many of you probably remember those hearings. So this is the case that we're talking about. So now this federal judge has ruled that it is going to go forward. The Clinton Foundation's dealings and filing these tax-exempt status forms, when in fact they shouldn't have been. They should have been paying taxes because they were, pay-for-play operation. There's a lot going on here, man. If you're a Democrat in Washington, a power broker Democrat in Washington, a Pelosi, a Clinton, any of these people, Biden, Harris, the Democratic Party as a whole, in Washington right now, you are literally shitting yourself right now. Literally. These people are crapping their pants right now. I'm telling you. I'll be back as soon as there's more news to report, and something tells me it won't be long.